My name is Benjamin Reese, and I'm the supervising lawyer for housing law at Downtown Legal Services. DLS is a legal clinic where we teach and train students from the University of Toronto Faculty of Law. My students and I advise and represent low-income people from across Toronto in disputes with their housing providers. Tenants today average less than half the household income of homeowners and a small fraction of the average net worth. They skew younger, less white, less likely to be born in Canada, more likely to be living with a disability. And when a marginalized group speaks out about injustice, I believe we should listen. From the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the loudest organized tenant voices have called for a general rent strike, otherwise known as the Keep Your Rent campaign. In my job, I help tenants hold individual landlords accountable for breaches of the law, but COVID-19 has turned tenants' attention to landlords generally and the ever-increasing rents they have charged in recent years. In Ontario, we have a system that lets landlords rent at the highest rate they can obtain on the open market. Many landlords have been able to charge enough rent to cover their mortgages. Tenants have paid 50, 60, and even 80% of their incomes on housing, sometimes just for a bedroom in an even more expensive apartment that they split with people that they met online. Tenants in these situations have been unable to save any money for a down payment, much less savings for, the general shutdown of the economy. We don't do this with homeowners. We tightly regulate mortgages to avoid having people pay too much of their income on a home and to limit the risk of them losing that home due to economic changes. That's because we think of a person's home as something that they must not lose. But with tenants, we have decided that supply and demand can just take care of it. And if anyone gets evicted because they can't pay, then we expect them to just pick up and try again somewhere else. Tenants may have accepted this situation before on the promise of continued economic growth. Don't worry if you can barely afford your rent now. You'll get a better job in a few years and everything will get easier from there. But now, facing job losses and economic uncertainty, many tenants don't know how they will pay rent next month, and they blame their landlords for creating a system that has left so many tenants at such a high risk of homelessness. Think about your home and whether you feel like it is more than just a product that you purchased. Think about what it means to your sense of identity, family, community, and safety, especially now. Consider whether you believe everyone deserves to feel this way about some place. And consider whether a system that tosses some of us from place to place is a system that really treats us all as equal. Consider whether there is such a thing as an immoral rent, and refuse to participate in a system that charges that. Refuse to invest in a system that charges that. Like hand sanitizer and toilet paper, refuse to engage in the practice of hoarding more housing than you need while charging top dollar to people who are less fortunate than you. And join calls for fair rent regulation and a meaningful right to housing for all.